And I say this all the time, video is a form of communication.
Hey Tristan, welcome back to this month. Let's make it super easy. Started doing what we're doing.
Let's talk about where an agent, somebody which I think, God, I would argue 90% of professionals are not using it at a high level, or not using it at a consistent level, which means there's a lot of opportunity here. And so let's talk about how should they be using video?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think this is where, so I like to try to make analogies or sort of reframe things, help people understand them. And I think about, again, video, and I say this all the time, video is a form of communication. It's just a new way that we can talk to somebody, and it should be considered as a potential replacement for any other form of communication, right? And I think that's the question we should always be asking ourselves is, will the recipient, is the person I'm reaching out to right now going to have a better or worse experience depending on how I choose to talk to them, And so that doesn't mean you always send a video. It doesn't mean that we're going to be 100% focused on making and sharing videos for the rest of our lives, but we do need to sort of hit pause for a second and really think about that question, because I think that's where a lot of folks, we went all the way to the end of the spectrum, right? We're doing marketing videos. These are very public. This is very intimidating. It's a very complex form of video. And back to your point about the conferences, I mean, I've heard stories and I've seen this firsthand where you go to this conference, somebody's talking about a video strategy. There's 3 different kinds of videos, the specific things you're supposed to make. They're supposed to get run as ads. They're supposed to be put on these platforms. In about 45 minutes, they give you the whole strategy, the entire thing, right? Which is cool and flashy and sexy and fun. And then you look around the room and you see people kind of scratching their head going, but how do I make the video? Like, where do I even start? I don't know how to run ads. I don't know how to make any of those kinds of video. I don't know how to use the camera. And they're just sort of stuck. They're sort of flabbergasted, Well, on the other hand, what if somebody walks in that room and says, hey, look, the first video you should ever make is just reach out to somebody you already know, that you have a strong relationship with, and say happy birthday for 10 seconds. You hold your phone up, you hit record, or you go to the Facebook Messenger. I mean, you can do this through the Facebook app on your phone. It's so easy. Hit the notifications tab, search for the birthdays. Next to everybody is a messenger button. You click it to start a chat, and then you just open the camera part of the messenger app and record for 10 seconds, and that's it. I mean, you can send 10 of these in 5 minutes. That's a lot easier. There's only a single person seeing it. It has a tremendous impact. This is something people remember for weeks, oftentimes many months even. And the reason is what I was talking about at the beginning. It's just that video is a better form of communication. It's easier to see that person's authentic excitement for you. You can actually see their smile. You can watch their facial expressions as they say the words happy birthday, and you can see that they actually mean it. That all really resonates with people. So that's, I think, the part that we really need to get back to when we talk about the basics here. It's like, this isn't even getting back to basics. This is literally, we completely skipped the basics. We went all the way to the deep end, on day number 1. And so I was curious about this today. I was like, the emergence of video over the past 5 or so years, maybe 10 even, kind of reminds me a little bit of like when email first came out. Like when it first emerged, it was this new thing and everybody was confused about how to use it. And then it kind of gradually became well adopted. Well, the crazy thing though about email is, and I put a small survey out about this the other day on LinkedIn. I was like, hey, when you first started using email, did you either A, send email to an individual person at a time, B, send emails to a small group, or C, did you market with email? Did you send these mass emails to a big list of people? Obviously, every single person said, I sent them to a single person to get started. And then I immediately came back and said, like, why aren't we doing that with video? Why did we skip that step? And I think that's where, so yes, it's basics in the sense that it's so much easier. It requires less equipment, less understanding, less of everything pretty much. But it's also, it's the natural, organic first step that we almost entirely completely skipped over. And so I think when you come back to that place and you say to yourself, again, a lot of this is about what's best for my recipient, what's best for the customer, right? I mean, we should always be asking that question. How do we give our customers the absolute most incredible experience, in particular because they're going to go around and they're going to tell their friends and family about that experience, right? That's how we're going to generate referrals. So that's a long explanation for all this, but I think that's the important thing to understand is this is it's a relatively new, although it's not new anymore, but it's a way that we talk to each other now. And the more you embrace it from that perspective, the more you just start to think, how can I just talk to my existing customers? How do I build further relationships? How do I push the envelope with this better form of communication, and you're going to see massive benefit from that, right? You're going to have more referrals, more repeat business. You're going to generate more, solid leads, people that actually want to work with you. They're not just contacting some random agent. Like, they've gotten to know you through these videos over time. And it's not an immediate impact. Like, you don't see this stuff the next day, but after just a few weeks, a few months, I mean, this really fundamentally changes the way your business functions. I mean, it's going to save you a ton of time. It's going to build relationships a lot faster. And that's where it gets fun, right? That's where you start to build that momentum and try new things too.